to your garden, I eat from your tree, I step in your river, and it takes me deep. Your heart is my temple, your tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams. But somehow out of reach, eluding me until I release. You come close to me when I release, and I let you take the lead when I release. My heart starts to see when I release. When I release, you said, come to my garden, eat from my tree, step in my
This is Kyle. He invented One Wheel to destroy boredom.
Bruce Lawn.
temple. Your tears rinse my feet. You walk out, you're able to carry my peace. It's an ancient sound heard from the ones who came before. And now it's here once more to pierce your soul. A simple melody playing over and over
2, 1. What is up, folks? We're live. We're here. We're in the building. Thank you for everybody who's tuned in already. And you're watching Young Lion TV. Let's go.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
That's right. You're tuned into Young Lion TV. We're here Thursday night. We're at True Sound Studios. I got the fellas with me. I got Moan with me here. I got Stiz with me over there.
What up?
Jake sitting right in. And then holding it down on the production, we got John and Rachel over there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you for all the love and shout outs. What's up, Mom? Emma says, hello, guys. Hope y'all are doing great. We are great, sir. And shout out to Emma for becoming a Patreon member. We really appreciate you, brother, for the support. We need that. And speaking of that, anybody who wants to support what we're doing, which is just like bringing some lessons, bringing what we've been shown, what we've learned over the years to the people, especially to young men and young women that are, trying to see things a little different. You can support that by going over to the Patreon and becoming a member. It's patreon.com/youngliontv. You see it right there at the bottom of the screen. And you can just log on to there and you can choose different tiers. Shout out to McDahlia, who just signed up to become a Lion King member.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, I'm having technical stuff here.
Hold up now.
Hold up.
What's going on over there?
I hit the wrong button when I came out.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, so you can go to Patreon. You can become a member over there. Also,
Desktop presenter's not working.
okay, it's
So,
fine.
yeah.
It's fine. Patreon.com/youngliontv. Also, just take a moment to share this video, hit the like button, and just let people know that we're live. Also, leave a comment to say hi. That really helps out with the algorithm. Facebook is doing everything to squash content like this, and YouTube as well. So we're also streaming on Twitch right now. So shout out to all the Twitch people that have been slowly joining us. But if you can go to our YouTube as well. We're trying to get people to subscribe over at YouTube. You can just look up Young Lion TV over there and find us on YouTube and become a member. All right. So all that being said, what's going on with everybody? How's everybody doing?
Good.
How's everybody feeling?
Feeling good.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Made it through the
good.
day.
Made it through the day. Made it through the week. Thursday.
Made it through the day without getting hit.
Without getting hit, luckily. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Blessed.
We had a good rehearsal last night.
Oh.
All the fellas in the building. Freddie came through. It's a good rehearsal.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah. But
Just want to say congratulations to our drummer
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike. Got engaged.
Oh.
in Jamaica.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what's up. Congratulations, man.
Yes, sir. Mike Walker taking the plunge.
Yeah. Stepping up to the plate.
Tia said today is my birthday. Well, happy birthday,
Happy
Tia.
birthday, Tia.
Tia, happy birthday. You know we love you. We've known Tia a very long time. Tia has been a supporter of us for a long time. So shout out, happy birthday to her. What's going on with the production crew over there? Y'all good? Everything? How y'all been? How y'all feeling?
I'm good.
You guys are the worst.
It's a busy week.
Busy.
Taking care of Mark's dog.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say John. Every time I call him,
He's the dog whisperer.
Yeah, he's the dog whisperer. He's
Yeah.
sitting. What'd you say that one dog is retarded?
Why you put him on blast like that, dude?
The one dog is paralyzed.
oh, that's what you said.
Oh,
Retarded.
man.
Where'd you get retarded? Well, she kind of is.
Oh man.
Barking at my ankles.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about one of the major stories that happened this week is that we're now changing the narrative about the Wuhan lab situation.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all been seeing this?
Yep.
Y'all been seeing this?
I haven't.
Fauci.
You haven't seen this?
What's the?
So here, I'm gonna pull up this article. Can you? Is my desktop presenter working? Yeah. There you go. I don't know what that video of the dog is. Look, that's for you, John.
Yeah, we're talking about dogs.
No, but the headline here is Fauci facing calls for resignation after shifting positions on probe of the Wuhan lab. So basically, y'all know we've been talking about that since this whole thing came out, like the possibility of, China's involvement in negligence and in the WHO and for a while it was like you could get banned for even talking about that, even speaking on it. And for some reason, now all of a sudden the narrative has shifted, and all the mainstream media sources are saying that seems more likely to be the case. Instead of the bat soup thing that that kind of came out.
Right.
That was the original story
he's-
they ran
he's-
with.
He still said it recently
What?
with the bat thing.
That it jumped from a bat to a
Yeah.
human.
Yeah, but
not too long ago, right?
yeah, but
not too long
that's
ago,
why the
but
story is
more
now
coming out
because he did that interview, not interview, but when Rand Paul was questioning him in front of
Right.
Congress, and he asked him about the money they were using to fund
Yeah,
the gain of function research, and he totally denied all of that and said that wasn't the case.
He
and
lied.
now he's backtracking on that.
He straight up lied.
Yeah,
And
straight up
still
lied.
lying.
Yeah, and it's seeming more and more likely like this narrative about the Wuhan lab leaking this is the case.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it just so happened that the top guy at that Wuhan lab used to be China's or the CCP's bioweapons director.
Right.
Just so happened he left that and went to that lab.
Right. It makes perfect sense. But so of course now they're talking about reopening the investigation that the Biden administration apparently shut down secretively that was going on. They shut down the investigation into the lab, and now they're being forced to say they're going to reopen it.
You know why?
Why?
Well, apparently it's because the DOJ was doing the original investigation. What they report, they have to make it public.
Right.
Anything that they find,
Anything
they
they
have
find,
to make
right.
public. If they switch it to the intel community, it becomes
Top secret,
top secret.
classified information.
They can filter out
right,
what they
don't
want.
want us to know.
Yeah.
If there's
Slow
people
feed
involved
it.
that they don't want us to know are involved.
yep.
Yeah.
And so that's why he stopped that, but opened it up with the intel community.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Didn't I send y'all a video that Anomaly posted where he was talking about Fauci, talking about
I think so.
I think it was the last couple days.
Yeah, you did.
Where he was talking about the dude that invented the PCR test.
Yeah.
How he came out that was in the 80s, right? And he was talking about Fauci, how he's he doesn't know what he's doing. He was like, this guy, Fauci's an idiot. You know what I mean? He was like, I don't know why he's in that position. Someone needs to take him from that role.
Right.
Dr. Fauci.
Give me vaccines.
We should leave it up so we can just hit it.
I should make that a sound thing. Give me back, Mr. Fauci. Don't forget me. Yeah. But it's just funny how
That's great.
it's all of these narratives they're constantly pushing in front of you. Anytime they're putting someone in your face all the time and forcing you to believe that this is the person with all the answers, it's always a trap. It's always a trap. And I think people got to stop falling for this, man.
You got to see it.
You got to see, why is everything going through Fauci? Why is everything that he's no matter what any other doctors, no matter what anybody else that's a virologist or epidemiologist, anything that people that are actually working in the field will say, it's but what does he have to say about it?
Yeah.
Yep. And he always has a spin for you.
Yeah.
That way he's never wrong.
Tim Pool had a good take on it. He was saying that it seems like Fauci just watches and says whatever the news has released, that's his news take on things. Whatever the news is saying, oh, this is the new headline. Because it wasn't until the news articles started coming out about the Wuhan lab. First, the director of the CDC came out and said it, and then now recently some news articles were coming out after the intel got leaked about the people that back in November of
Yeah, they had
2019, they were hospitalized.
Wasn't it the same thing with the mask?
It was the same thing.
Like after like literally a week before that, he was talking about you have to wear a double mask.
Yeah.
And then when the CDC, they came out with that, then all of a sudden he switched up.
Yeah.
you know?
Or go back to his original comment where he said you're only wearing a mask to make yourself comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's not doing anything.
And then he admitted to lying about that.
Yeah.
Because someone questioned him and was like, well, why did you tell us at first we didn't need masks? And he was like, well, we said that because we really wanted to save the masks for the medical professionals.
Yeah.
We didn't want people buying up all the masks. So you're openly admitting to just
Lying.
misleading
Lying.
people
Yeah.
for the purposes of controlling them, their behaviors. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even at the beginning, when this back in January, when this thing first started jumping off, he was telling people, "Oh, this will be nothing. It'll be over with. Go on cruises. Go live your life." You know, and then again, once the narrative changed, then all of a sudden he flipped. You know, at first he said, "You don't wear a mask because it will, you know, you get some schmutz on it and you know, it'll drop. Maybe it blocks a couple droplets, but it really doesn't give the protection you think."
Because
And-
it stands true that it's an airborne virus.
Right.
And it never changed.
Right.
That never changed. So
Yeah.
those masks don't stop airborne viruses.
And then they wonder why people like us are like, I don't know what to think because y'all are all over the place with this. You know
and
what
we
I mean?
see that you're all over the place.
Yeah. And you're just kind of like using it for different things. It becomes political. Because, you know, The Hill did a good article talking about how like the media and all of like the Democratic pundits had to call this story a conspiracy from jump only because Trump came
said
out
it, yeah, I was
and
just
said
gonna
that,
go to that.
that he saw evidence that it was a possibility.
But he never released the evidence.
Because it was top secret at the time.
At the
you know?
time, yeah.
So they're like, well, because that happened, we have to. It has to be a conspiracy theory.
How about you be a journalist and actually ask the question or go find out?
Right.
If it's true or not. If
Investigate
it's
it
not,
at all.
If it's not, then cool. If it is, now you got a bigger story.
Yeah.
Instead of leaning on Trump.
It's not a lot of those anymore. Tim Pool's always complaining about that.
Yeah. I think journalists are like in this position now where they can become famous on Twitter and like for writing a certain story that just inflames their base.
Right.
So now their incentive isn't to really investigate things. Their incentive is just to, you know, say stuff that's gonna make their following happy. You know, like the New York Times. I was showing y'all. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring that up. I was showing y'all.
Well, a lot of the journalists are not really journalists anyway. They're more like
Activists.
Headline writers.
No, exactly.
Activists.
No, they're activists. Yeah, that they write some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was telling Jake about this New York Times post that I saw the other day. You could bring this up, John. So this is about the conflict in Israel and between Israel and Palestine,
okay.
and people were getting attacked, like, you know, in different cities.
Yeah, in
Jews were getting
America.
attacked. So their take on it, instead of saying like, you know, we should all not be attacking people, it's attacks on Jews over Israel are a gift to the right. It's like everything is seen through the lens of who it helps politically.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
ridiculous.
Like, you know, like,
Why can't we agree that that's just wrong?
yeah.
I
It's-
thought that's what America was.
Only-
Calling out that.
Everything has become so like you know, divided, just like team based. It's like if anything helps the other team, we can't you know, we can't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if it's too big to ignore, like people getting beat up in the streets, then we have to spin it in a way where it's like, you know, we don't look at it that way, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
think
Like the mask thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what you hit on it, team. Like, have we been programmed to like pick a side, pick a team?
Absolutely.
A lot of times,
Absolutely.
and that's even become a part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. It's divide and conquer, man.
Yeah, there's no reaching across the aisle anymore.
Yeah.
It's always been teams. I just watched. This is totally off. Kind of not really. Nita was watching Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Team Capulet.
Montagues
Team
and Capulets.
Montague.
Montagues and Capulets. Tia said, "Thank you, 36 and counting." Man, I think we met her when she was like 16, right?
I don't remember.
Our cousin Pearl. Hey, Pearl said, "Hey, cousins, interesting conversations. Thank you." Mom said, Planet Fitness is saying you can go in without your mask only if you're vaccinated. Yeah, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
Yeah, vaccinated.
Yeah.
They can't ask you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
if
Why
They do-
can't they ask you again?
Well, they can.
They can, but I don't think
You don't
you're
have to.
obligated to
Yeah, you
show
don't have
proof
to.
at this point, you know.
They're leaning towards that.
I don't even understand that. Like, you're vaccinated, you can still spread it.
You can still get it.
You can still get it. So
You just won't get it.
why?
That's bad.
No, but he's saying like,
I
so
know.
Why?
what
I
is
know.
the why is it
Why-
okay to not have a mask then?
Yeah, like
If it only will stop you from getting super sick, but you can still be a carrier,
You'll
you can
get it.
still spread it, you can still kill grandma.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because you need to keep your mask on so you're not a right wing extremist, and
Yeah.
everyone knows that.
Yeah, I saw videos on TikTok. You saw that of people like
come on, man.
people were making like meme videos of them going into a store without a mask and then like, I can't do it, and they run out. They run out.
Like, should I not wear a mask?
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen as a Republican.
Yeah. But I see ones where they're like they're filming themselves going in the store and they're like, I can't do it. Like, they can't. Like that's how programmed we're so
That's a
quick,
shame.
So
so
programmed.
quick, man.
I laugh, but it's a shame. It shouldn't be like that.
It's a testament to the psychology of human nature where we can adapt into a situation that is so unnatural that quick in less than a year. You know what I mean?
Because the experts say, the experts say.
Right.
Just beat you over the head over and over.
But
like
only
that.
the experts.
It's really
choose.
not
Yeah.
about that. It's really about fear.
Yeah.
And the fear, it's really about fear and conflict. So like, what is the best idea? And that's connected to the experts.
Yeah.
Because
The experts are supposed to put you at ease with everything, right?
Right.
and that's
But-
what people are looking for is
Yeah.
that comfort.
Only the experts, they say, like you said. You got to remember that. Because if you go and look at some other experts that's actually in the
field doing work,
doing it every day.
actually treating people.
Yeah.
Only the experts that got the blue check.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Verified.
Yep.
Those are the ones you need to listen to.
Or not silenced. Did you hear about the scandal with Facebook and Project Veritas,
Yeah,
the insider?
Veritas, yeah.
They just put out a new video of somebody who showed proof that Facebook is censoring any negative post about vaccines.
Comments.
Like even if it's like, oh, I got the vaccine and I was sick for a couple days, like they'll
that's-
take it down.
Yep.
Cause
It's the Facebook engineer came out and said it.
yeah, it's like a whole wing of their operation now where I forget what they called it, but it's all about like any negative post about vaccines. They're censoring it now, just because they want to shape the narrative, man. It's like,
False prophets,
man, it's crazy.
false reports.
Control the language. You can control the mind.
Stephanie said, yes, still get it, still spread it. Yeah. Look, until they can cure the common cold, flu, and any other virus, this isn't going away. Your best defense is staying healthy naturally.
That's what we've been saying
Yeah.
this whole time.
Definitely true.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, and that's something we need to look at, just as a country.
Yeah.
Like how unhealthy we are.
Right.
You know?
100%.
We just
Fast
wanna
food,
eat. Yeah, I
fast
was gonna
food
say.
make money.
We
Right.
want to eat what we want
Yep.
when we want.
Yep.
You know
How much
As
we want.
much as we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me get back to that.
Yeah.
You need me to take a vaccine,
Right.
So I can eat.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Right, so
Let me
I
get
can-
back to my comfort.
Yeah. So I can go to the movies and eat lard-filled popcorn.
All the sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cotton candy popcorn.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do it.
Movie popcorn is delicious.
And I mean, like, I know. Have you guys ever seen the reality show? I think it was on TLC, where they had trainers that would get fat or gain a lot of weight for the person they were.
Yes.
I saw that the
Yeah.
other day.
So
dude.
that they could know the pain of losing the weight like them. They
Right.
can connect with.
Wow.
Right.
This was a show.
Yes.
Wow.
But what I'm saying is there is something connected to that, like in terms of when you do gain a lot of weight and you get into that habit, it's not as easy for it to come off, and you're dealing with a lot of factors that you don't realize. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that sometimes it's easier to just be able to take a shot or, you know, be instead of and then just live your life, because it's hard to
Kind of like
make a change, suffer through something, you know.
kind of like getting a surgery to lose weight. You know.
Right. Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, it's a quick fix. It's something that
Yeah.
you don't really have to work for.
Yeah, because and then people like nothing else is working.
Yeah.
It's not that it's working; it's just that you're not being consistent at it.
Bless
But not just that. Like it's not easy to be consistent.
Right.
You know.
Right. It takes discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
even
what-
even when
Go ahead.
because I watch my 600-pound life
Oh wow.
with the wife. They have to work to get to a certain
Right.
and a lot of them fail.
Can't even get to the
can't even
surgery
get
because-
to
yeah.
the surgery part because
Yeah.
they can't lose that that weight, because if they're too big, they won't survive the surgery.
Right.
Yeah. So just staying on the same topic, speaking about all of this and the narratives that we see, I'm sure y'all have been seeing about like India, how it's supposed to be crazy, and there's this new variant that they're warning us about, and like people out there are dying in the streets. You know what I mean? Like this is what the news is telling people.
Oh.
So if you don't watch it, you wouldn't know. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, don't watch the news.
Yeah.
I only know
It's
because
poison, man.
because of Twitter. You know what I mean? But so this video of this dude in India, I think he was in I forget what city he was in, but he posted up a video and a bunch of people started doing it in India, like just saying like, yo, they're lying. You know what I mean? I'm gonna play it real quick just so y'all can see.
And
All right, start over.
20 of May 2021, and in Mumbai we are having just a normal day. It is just past 11 a.m. and most of the shops are open. People are busy buying groceries and stuff. So whatever you're hearing about people dying in the streets in India, if you're still hearing it, it's all a lie. Do not believe all the liars. We are doing fine here. 2020,
So that was May 20th. But if there's a bunch of articles where like, you know, they'll take a picture of someone who's like resting on a sidewalk, you know, and you know the headline is India ravaged by, you know, new COVID variant. So I see like they keep trying to grab another thing, another object of fear for everyone to be like, oh, we got to do this. Yeah. New variant.
It's coming, yeah.
New variant. So you're going to have to, you know,
Put
get a
your
booster.
mask back on,
But,
get a
yeah.
booster,
Yep.
shut down, put masks on. Did you know there was a nurse in the Stafford school district that got fired for saying something against the masks?
In
Like,
Stratford, you mean?
In Stratford.
Stratford in South
New
Jersey?
Jersey.
Yeah.
Really?
She was seeing kids with strep throat. Her kids were getting sick with strep throat and I forget what else it was. But yeah, she got fired for that. And as far as I know, she's still, even though it's coming, the mask mandate is coming down to recommended.
Yeah.
You know, the damage is done.
Yeah.
Like what does she do?
Right. Now she lose her job.
All over a lie
Yeah.
that she called out, but you weren't allowed to call it out. It's ridiculous.
Stephanie said, I'm struggling right now because I'm wearing off my BP meds. Can't just stop, but my BP dropped, like his blood pressure dropped to 96 over 45 last night. Able to control it naturally, but now I have to wean so it doesn't kill me. Well, we pray for you, Stephanie.
Definitely.
Yeah. And, you know, for your healing, you don't have to go through that.
Is there So y'all did keto. Does that deal with blood pressure? And I know it deals with diabetes.
I know it helped my mom with hers.
It helped me. My blood pressure was getting kind of high, so it did help. But I mean, there's variance with blood pressure and other things affect it. I don't know what her situation is.
I think a drastic change like that in your diet could benefit anyway.
Yeah.
And also fasting too.
Yeah.
Fasting is a huge help for stuff like that. But I know anecdotally, my mom, she had high blood pressure. She was on
All her life, right? Like,
for a while, and her cholesterol was high, and I know she was on like blood thinners too at the time because of her. They had there was blood clot issues. This was when she had the surgery on her kidney, and then when she started getting serious with keto, like a few months and
fasting.
Yeah, and fasting. A few months and all of that kind of just went away, cleared up. So, I'm not saying that, that would work for everybody, but I just know her experience with it, And her cholesterol was high for a long time,
Well,
and
that's a whole nother story because cholesterol isn't really what it is, what we thought it was.
Right. That's a whole nother conversation about what cholesterol is.
But her blood pressure was high for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Y'all see the video of Fauci trying to get his mask on in public? No, we did not see that. You can post a link in the chat though if you have it. But I just keep thinking of that video of him throwing that baseball. The whole Fauci thing is just, it's always been stupid to me. It's always been weird. It's always like, why?
Yeah.
This guy,
no one knew him.
This
before.
guy, and he has no consistent information about anything. It's always back and forth. Yeah. So it was just hard to even respect what he said for me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like for us, it's like we see these scammers. Like we can kind of see them coming. You know what I mean?
Selling the snake oil.
Yeah.
And I've seen the AIDS thing. He was,
behind right.
The AIDS epidemic and curing that vaccine.
Well, that was the thing. He was the one who was directly responsible for squashing the medication that they were developing for AIDS because he wanted to push a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to develop a vaccine, which never worked. They still haven't fixed one to this day. And then it turns out that the medication that they're using now that really helps people with AIDS is the one that he was trying to squash back in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
it's all about that
think
money,
of all
man.
that time.
Yeah. But it's like for some reason he still has a job. And for some reason
they're not held accountable.
Yeah. Why is he
or
not?
anything.
Why is he still in the position he's in? I mean, now they're bringing up he might have to resign or they're trying to what's the act that they're trying to I think it's called the Fired Act. It's like Fauci it starts with Fauci something
I don't know. Gotta look that
yeah.
up.
It's like the Fired Act, I think.
I think a lot of this stuff is
Fire
starting
Fauci
to
Act? That's what I saw online.
No, it's called the Fired Act, like FIRED.
Stands for something.
Yeah,
It's
Fired
acronym.
is an acronym for something that contains Fauci. What were you saying, Jake?
a lot of this stuff is starting to come to the surface, and I think we have to be responsible to, speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing right here.
Right.
Just letting it be known, but also pray about these things.
Yep.
Not take it on, not feel like you got to take on the world, but just things don't change if you don't recognize it. I think a lot of times we were saying, people will agree with something because it's really to benefit themselves, to keep them where they're at, like to keep them comfortable, or to keep them with what they're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, what you're familiar with is actually not a good thing.
Right.
So.
Right, your comfort zone.
Right.
Is not always the best place to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And it becomes a thing that you're used to. So. Yeah, I think those things are changing, but we gotta recognize it, and it's kind of like we're getting shown something that maybe we wouldn't have been shown in the past. That's the one good thing about the internet, and although they're trying to suppress things, you can still find it. You know, you can still find a lot of things that are going on in the world. Yeah, but you can't be blind to it.
Yeah, we can't just blindly accept everything they tell us all the time.
Right. Everything
Yeah.
the experts tell you.
All right, so did y'all see the John Cena clip?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, with him apologizing.
Yeah,
In Mandarin.
yeah. I want to play that real quick.
What did he say exactly?
Well, let's play the clip first, and then we'll get into that. Hold on. Why is it not playing?
Does anybody ever think John Cena looks like Mark Wahlberg? or is it just me?
They could be
你好，中
brothers.
国，就是叫希娜。我必须说，现在，在《速度与激情》中，我做很多采访，很多，所以在一个采访，我有一个错误，所有人问我，如果我可以用中文，速度与激情中人给我很多资讯 information。所以很多采访，很多 information，我有一个错误，我必须说现在就是很重要，我爱更尊重中国跟中国人，我很抱歉对我的错误，对不起，我很抱歉，你必须了解，我。很爱、很尊重中国跟中国人，不好意思，再见。
Okay, now watching that, it's like the biggest groveling act I've seen in a long time. But like for those that are only listening and not watching, like basically John Cena is putting up a video where he's speaking in Mandarin and just talking about how he's so sorry. He made a mistake in one of his interviews. He's so sorry. He loves and respects the Chinese people. I'm sorry, over and over again. So sorry. And then it's like you come to find out what he did that he's apologizing for. And it really sheds light on what people prioritize, especially when it comes to China and their financial power, right? So basically what he did in one of the interviews is that he called Taiwan a country. And
What?
Which it is.
but yeah, that's what he did.
Yeah,
Wow.
not to the CCP.
That's what he did. Now we played the video on here before when COVID was happening in the beginning, and remember when the dude from the Who was getting interviewed and they talked about Taiwan, and he
Shut it
shut
down.
the interview down, act like he didn't even want to hear it, because when you deal closely with the CCP, you understand that if you recognize Taiwan as a country, you're their enemy now.
And let's go back to when LeBron said it too.
Exactly.
You know, we
right?
stand with the people of Taiwan.
No. Did LeBron say that?
Well, I think he said it initially, and then after the aftermath was, you need to apologize.
No,
or-
I
No, I
remember
or
think
was
he
that
said-
the coach?
the coach.
No, that was like the San Antonio.
D'Antoni?
No, the Houston Rockets coach, right? He
Not the coach. It might have been like
the manager or something.
yeah.
But what he
wasn't
said,
Taiwan, though. That
he
was-
said we stand
that
with
was
the
Hong
people of
Kong.
Hong Kong,
Hong Kong.
Yeah,
the
my bad.
protesters at the time.
Yeah.
LeBron didn't want no parts of it. When
Right.
they asked him about it, he was like, "Oh, I don't.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
he
speak
said
on
we don't.
those
Yeah,
things
because
you
we don't know.
Yeah,
They run their country different. Than
Right,
How
right.
we run ours or something.
LeBron was talking about the Uyghurs.
yeah. LeBron was talking about
Putting-
the Uyghurs. Someone asked him about the Uyghurs. Yeah,
Yeah.
And he
And
he back.
Yeah, he
backpedal.
pretty much didn't want his money to be
Affected. Yeah.
affected at all.
yeah.
Because the NBA is big in China.
You
Yeah.
know, there's so
Same
many.
thing with wrestling though.
Yeah,
Like, that's why he's-
WWE's been big.
no, but what he was worried about is he was doing promo for Fast
the-
and Furious
right,
9,
Yep.
and that's a huge movie in China.
Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Like, let's not even talk about the fact that there's 9 versions of that movie.
And John Cena's in it. I
Yeah.
thought it
Yep.
was the Rock thing.
No, they're replacing
And
him.
Vin Diesel.
They couldn't afford The Rock now, so they went with John Cena. Vin Diesel's still in it, I think.
I thought The Rock and like Vin Diesel had beef or something like that.
Well, The Rock and Jason Statham did a spinoff, right? And then that's why the beef started, kind of, because they had their own spinoff movie from their characters, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw. Or
Yeah,
Hobbs and
yeah.
Shaw?
They had their own spin-off movie, and I know Tyrese was mad about that, and Vin Diesel, and then this whole like internal beef started. But
Oh.
yeah, yeah, Hollywood drama. But the point of it is the fact that when you worship money, you know what I mean, and when you prioritize that over anything else, you have to do stuff like that. You have to totally just like he's basically like on his knees, like please forgive me.
us, yeah.
And he probably got in so much trouble with the studio.
Yeah.
Because did y'all hear about the Red Dawn reboot? You know the Red Dawn movie from back in the day. They did
Oh, they did. Didn't they do
did
a new one
one.
with Thor, dude? Right?
Yeah, but they want the Chinese market, so they had to change the whole story to make North Korea the enemy in the movie. So they had to like the beginning of the movie, they had to do this whole like long, elaborate news story in the beginning to show that like North Korea took over all of Asia, so that's why they're the real enemy and not really China. Like because you can't, in order for your movie to be played in China, you can't do any. They can't be the bad guy. Right. You can't have any negative Chinese characters. You have to have like someone Chinese has to be one of the heroes. Like it's all in their policies. So people are now Hollywood is like all the movies that they want to play over there. They're like writing this into the stuff.
Because they have how many billion, 1 point something billion people?
Exactly.
It's only 330 million in America.
Yep.
So they need to tap that market.
Yep. They're like 3 times as many people can watch this movie.
Shut up, LeBron.
Exactly. Better get on out there, LeBron. They told John Cena, better get on out there and make that video. And you better, and we make us believe it.
You better.
Make us believe.
Do you really think he speaks Mandarin?
I was gonna say, how long do you think it took him?
No, I think he really does. Like,
okay.
I think that's something that he's always
that's
done.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Sounded good. It was pretty.
I don't know.
It's pretty authentic.
Sounds
like
you
that
speak.
guy that talks on YouTube that talks Chinese to people.
Oh, this sounds pretty good when you don't know what's going on.
It was good.
What do you mean? My last name is Cheng.
You talking about the white guy that goes like?
Oh, yeah.
His whole YouTube channel is American goes into a Chinese restaurant and speaks Mandarin. Yeah. But it's all his titles are clickbaity because he like does it in a way where you think they're gonna talk shit and he's gonna catch them on it. It's never that. It's never that.
They're always like happy and surprised.
Yeah.
I would like to ask John Cena, what does he, or LeBron, what does he think about the 320 confirmed concentration camps that are in China?
You know what they're gonna say? We don't speak on that.
They run their country differently.
Yeah, they run their country different.
You got to do more research.
We ain't never gonna be allowed to go to China. Tia said that beef they had with each other was mind blowing. I could not believe it. The Rock was going off calling Tyrese a crybaby or something like that. That played on Entertainment Tonight.
Well,
I think
Why?
a lot of times this stuff is all manufactured to sell more tickets. A lot of times too. Like these people are all rich.
If you're in it, then you're a part of it.
True.
If you're paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so next topic. I saw this video from this girl that's starting to pick up steam on YouTube. She's a young girl, like 22 years old, but she's a Christian and she's been like
Disney. She was big on Disney.
Disney.
Black Lightning on WB.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Black Light.
China?
It's Black Light.
Yes, China. That's her name.
China McMillan.
Oh, I've been seeing her on TikTok.
Yeah, she got a bunch of TikTok videos, but this was one that we saw this week, and Jake was like, well, let's play it on the thing and react to it. I don't know if y'all saw it, because her whole take is like explaining to people why you need God, basically. And this one is from the perspective of like, how can you have morals without a godly foundation behind it? So I'll play this and we can react.
Okay, This is going to be a little bit of a tough conversation that we're going to have today, but we're going to do it anyway. Do y'all remember when I said that there's only one truth and it's not subjective? It's objective, which means it's unbiased and unchanging, no matter how people feel about it, no matter, you know, people's personal opinions or whatever, it doesn't matter. The truth is the truth and it doesn't change. I wanted to elaborate on that. Now listen, before I go into this conversation, I want to be very clear about something. So listen closely. What I'm not saying is that if you're an atheist, you are not capable of living a moral life. That is not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. So don't think that. Okay? The point of this video is questioning what the foundation for morality is, objective morality, without God. Because I was just watching this debate, which is really what caused me to make this video. And I was watching an atheist debater debate a Christian debater. The atheist his name was Peter Atkins. I had to listen to this man say that the only reason why he felt it was wrong for Hitler to kill the Jews in the Holocaust was because he didn't think it was right to hinder people's aspirations or obtrude on their lives. Hitler was doing something that he wouldn't have wanted done to him. No other reason though. But there's no real binding objectivity to that statement because that's his opinion. There are a lot of Nazis that agreed with Hitler. That's their opinion. And in the atheistic view, are we not all equal as Homo sapiens, that evolution has evolved to where we are right now? There's no afterlife, there's no God, so we're just lumps of matter with no real purpose. There's no judgment, no transcendent justice in the universe. Now, I'm not speaking from my own point of view, because I feel it was objectively wrong for Hitler to kill the Jews, period. No matter who you're talking to, what people's opinions are, that's where I stand, going off of the moral law in the Bible. Because what I'm doing right now is I'm taking God completely out of it. I love you, Lord. But for hypothetical purposes, I'm going to take God and say he doesn't exist. I'm going to say my best friend doesn't exist for a second, right? So therefore, everything that has to do with God also does not exist. Jesus Christ being the Messiah, that don't exist. The Holy Book, the Bible, and the moral law that's stated in it, none of that exists. None of that is real. So really, we also have to take the U.S. Constitution and put it over there too, because the founders of the Constitution, what did they do? They formed the Constitution on the foundation of the Holy Book, the Bible, our very country. That's why on money it says, "In God we trust." That's why we say one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's why in court, when you're about to testify and they put you under oath, they say, "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?" And whenever anybody says, "I do," they are acknowledging the fact that whether they believe it or not, God is watching them and what they say in the next moments that they testify. So if we take all of that away, put it over there and say it doesn't exist, God is just a myth, what real reason do we have to be moral? Because really moral doesn't really exist, not objective morality. What we're left with is really the socially acceptable and the socially unacceptable, because evolution has brought us to the place to where it's socially unacceptable to kill somebody or to rape someone or to abuse little children. That's just socially unacceptable, but there's really no transcendent immorality to it. So really, people could argue about whether or not it's really wrong, because to some people, those things are fine. We still got killers. We still have rapists running around. We still have abusers running around. There are many people that think that that behavior is fine. So who are we to really argue with them and say, no, this behavior is wrong, if we do not have an objective moral law to go by? Do y'all see what I'm saying? Same thing with Hitler and the Jews. If there's no objective moral law, how can I really tell Hitler, what you did, it was wrong and you shouldn't have done it? How can I really tell him that? Because he could easily be like, well, it's wrong to you. It's wrong in your opinion, but that's just your opinion and it really doesn't apply to me or anyone else. There are many of my followers that think I'm just fine. I'm justified in doing what I'm doing. So who are you to say that where evolution has brought you, is somehow better than where evolution has brought me and all of my followers. Who are you to say that? Wouldn't that be considered as kind of arrogant, actually, to say that without an objective moral law given to us by God? It's dangerous territory. That's dangerous. I'm clearly starting to see in this world where denying an absolute truth is leading us. Because think about it like this. We are teaching our children, okay, don't kill, don't steal or rape or do any of these things. But I'm only telling you not to do it because it's socially unacceptable. There's no God. There's no afterlife. There's no transcendent judgment. There's no self-aware higher being, a creator that created you with a purpose and with love that actually cares about what happens to you. You know, you're just one big accident that the universe happened to stumble and produce. You came from the dirt, into the dirt you will return. But, you know, it's socially unacceptable to kill and rape and do these things. So just don't do them. If there's one thing that kids aren't, it's stupid. At some point they get older and they put two and two together. As soon as life gives them a good kick in the butt, they're like, hold on, what has society ever done for me? Society has never done nothing but hurt me and given me insecurity issues, giving me depression, giving me anxiety. Why should I follow these rules though?
All right, so she makes a lot of good points there. And then she's about to show a clip of like a real life example of that. But I just wanted to stop her real quick because like we all know from having kids that if you just constantly tell people like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. Eventually they're going to want to know why. You know what I mean? But why?
And what is the why?
Yeah. How do you give them a why? Yeah. Oh, because it's not good. But who determines, like, who says?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could point to a lot of situations, and then they can get you caught into a semantical debate about, but if someone does this to me, then it's okay, right? So then what makes that, you know what I'm saying? Like, if someone is trying to kill you, I can kill them, though, right? You know what I mean? So then it's like you get into this argument with semantics where really you have nothing to fall back. You have no foundation to hold up your argument. So what she's saying makes a lot of sense because, and especially with kids, we have kids. Like if you don't give them something more behind what you're trying to teach them, they're going to challenge you or eventually grow up and just dismiss what you told them because they can just say, oh, you're trying to control me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even if you're like, well, why are we doing this? Because it says it in the Bible.
Right.
Even that is like, okay.
Right.
You know, but why do we follow the Bible?
Right.
You know, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
You know, and people start, if that's your logic, well then it's going to be tested and it's going to be destroyed pretty easily. Right. You know. And
I think a lot of the rebellion from the church, a lot of the atheistic views, a lot of this like new age spiritualism movement comes from the fact that the elders in the church and our older generations' answers to everything was, you just don't question God. Like you don't stop asking questions. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
who
just
am
do
I to
it.
Question His wisdom. Just
do what I say because you know that's because God said so. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there is an element of that,
right?
But I think the element is because there is a do what I tell you, but it's because I have your best intention. And I know the reason why I'm doing it.
Right.
But be patient and trust me.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the key to it. Like, God doesn't tell us everything. God tells us to do something.
Yeah.
But he has an intent in mind.
Right. And it's understanding that the obedience to him is for the bigger picture, the bigger purpose. You know what I mean? It's not about
it's not obedience to be obedient.
Right. It's not about being controlled.
Right.
You know.
It's obedience
for your own good,
so that you know the heart
right
of the one. It's obedience because really, what's the root of obedience is trust. Do it because I tell you, because you gotta trust that I'm good in what I'm telling you because I love you.
That's why when your children are younger, it's easier for them to be obedient to what you say. Well,
Right.
for most of us,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes, you know, people don't know how to keep their kids in check. But for the most part, like, your kids trust you more. They believe everything you say. They
Right.
look up to you as the one with all the answers. So you can tell them to do stuff and they'll just do it because
Right.
they understand.
But
you know.
she said it, like, once you start, like, kids aren't stupid. Once you start interacting with the world more, now you start having conflicts.
Those ideas
And
get challenged.
That's what happens with us. Like, we start getting challenged, but that's the point of this other world. Like, there's a ruler of this world, right? If we believe what the Bible says about it, there's a ruler of this world. So we're always being tested and tried for what? To prove our faith.
Right.
Because are we going to trust God? Are we going to trust our Father who loves us? Or because, well, I'm not going to believe this because this and this and this is happening.
Right.
So I feel this way about it.
Right.
And that's the key. But no, if you might be going through that, but if you trust in your Father, you're going to see the outcome. That's why, okay, don't pay attention to that. Be obedient. Do what I'm telling you to do. You know? And what that does is it actually sets up structure in your life, right? Because morals and values have no meaning. Like, values are not values if they don't have meaning. And you can value them in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like, you can take morals and value them in the wrong way because you don't understand the true intent of why it was given in the first place.
Well, that's why this whole movement now of my truth and your truth and everyone's truth, it just shows the subjectivity of what reality can be if you don't have a foundation there.
Yeah.
Like, we can all have a different idea of what good is.
Right.
You know, that's why even Jesus said nobody's good but the Father, because it's like that's the idea of good.
Right.
Your idea of me being good and my idea of you being good are different things, and all of that can be changed like the wind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, where does it stop?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what, like, you know how people are, oh, he's in his own little world, or you know, they're in a world of their own. Like, what does that mean? That means they're doing something unlike others, right? It don't make sense to people.
Yeah.
So even though the word world is about construct, you know, it's about cosmology, it's about makeup.
Right.
So what is the structure I follow? So everybody, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
I was talking this to a friend yesterday. I'm not religious. No, you are religious.
Right.
You have a construct.
Right.
Everybody has a religion.
Right.
Right. It's just what structure do you follow? Right. But so God, when we trust God through Jesus, he becomes our structure.
Right.
He becomes our religion. And that's what we, like, as believers, we start to realize. Because we get confronted with the world. Right? We get confronted with, how do I work this out? I got to trust him.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I work this out? I got to trust him. Where our structure that we thought, or our way, or our religion that we thought was right, it's getting tested for good reason. Because those are things that need to be cut away. Right? Those are ideas that we held on to, like we were talking about, what we were familiar with, that we were comfortable with, that actually are empty.
Yeah.
Right? They don't produce no fruit. They're vain. We're doing them for no reason. We thought they had value, but we got to cut them off. Right?
Yeah.
Like branches. They're not producing fruit. Cut it off.
Right.
You know, prune it. And that's what God does. So every time we get conflict, he allows it so we can trust him. And as we trust him, he's like, I'm showing you that's not working. What you're doing. Literally not working. Why am I dealing with this? Why am I going through these things? Because it's not working.
Right.
Trust me and I'll show you the way. You know?
Refined in the fire.
Yeah. All right, so now she's going to get into a clip giving an example of what she was talking about as far as someone who grew up without that foundation and them even admitting to that's why they live the life that they live.
I didn't feel accountable to anybody. I didn't feel that I had to face what I had done ever.
Growing up, did you feel that you were accountable to your dad or to your mom?
I mean, they didn't let me run wild. They disciplined me. So I felt accountable to them, but afterwards, after I left the home. I started wanting to sort of create my own little world where I could be the one who had the complete...
I started to want to create my own little world. You know why? Because I didn't have, like, discipline is one thing, but you have to have discipline with intent.
Right.
Right? And a child, that's why, like, the Bible literally speaks about, like, reverence is the key thing. Fear the Lord, you know, because it's the beginning of wisdom, because it literally sets your house in order.
Right.
You know, if you don't have that, you're not going to know the intent of why God is doing what he's doing.
Right.
Jesus came to show that intent of the Father's heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for anyone watching that is too young to remember the Jeffrey Dahmer saga, like this was a guy who they found a bunch of body parts in his fridge. You know what I mean? Like he killed a bunch of people. He was
doing some extreme stuff.
Yeah. Like he was doing crazy stuff, murdered 17 people, but he was a very high IQ guy, you know. But yeah, so he grew up without those moral foundational principles, even though he said his parents didn't let him do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
But when he got older, he wanted to challenge, you know, those ideas, because like, why can't I do what I want?
Right.
You
And
know?
he had these desires in him that these thoughts. Well, this sounds kind of interesting.
Right.
Let me go and figure this thing out. Like how, and then you think about it, like how many people have thoughts? How many people have things that they might entertain? You know, that sounds interesting. But when you have no guard, when you have no structure, right? You got no structure. You're just out there. Why did they put a wall around cities back in the day? Because it kept them safe, right? They had to have a wall.
Right. You could be overrun a lot easier back then.
Right. In Nehemiah, it talks about how the wall was down in Jerusalem. He said it was a shame.
Yeah.
Right. It was a shame to God that the wall was down, because they had nothing to keep them.
Right.
You know, and that's what's going on.
That's our land. Yeah. If we don't have those walls that keep the enemy out, it's a shame to God. Like we'll let anything in.
We'll let anything in. Yeah.
You know, like Dad used to say, freaky deaky.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you start so you don't know. Like you start hearing these thoughts. You start like entertaining it, having a relationship with these things, right? In your mind, in your heart. You know what I mean? And then it's like, then you start thinking, well, no, that's who I am. You know, but it's not.
Right.
You just come into agreement with it.
Right.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Kind of like marriage, right? When you come into agreement, a covenant with your wife or your husband, you're coming into a oneness with them, right? You're no longer two people. You are supposed to be coming. So that's kind of the mystery of marriage.
Right.
Like if you agree with the wrong thing, you're gonna let in a whole lot of bad things.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway.
All right, let's keep going here.
Control. When did you first feel everyone is accountable? I always believed the lie that we all just came from the slime, and when we died, you know, that was it. There was nothing. If a person doesn't think that there is a God to be accountable to, then what's the point of trying to modify your behavior to keep it within acceptable ranges? That's how I thought anyway. The Lord Jesus Christ, I have accepted him as my Lord and Savior, and I believe that I, as well as everyone else, will be accountable to him.
Hi, Birdie.
I didn't know that, by the way. Like until I watched that, I
never knew that either. Yeah. You never hear that.
Yeah,
you never hear that about Jeffrey Dahmer.
I didn't know that either.
Like,
him accepting Jesus.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And admitting to the fact that he never felt accountable until he did that.
Yeah,
you know,
because that is a beast nature,
right?
Like you're not accountable to anything.
Yeah,
you're wild.
Yeah,
right? You are wild.
Yeah,
running wild too.
Right.
Go with anything you feel.
Do what thou wilt.
Do what thou wilt.
Right. But that's the teachings of the Aleister Crowleys, the
Satanism.
Yeah, the Luciferians, the devil. That's the teachings. Do what you want. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Eat the fruit. You'll be God. He just doesn't want you to be God. He's jealous of you. Do what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what is that desire to take another person's life? Like, you are playing God. You're a lot of these serial killers, they get obsessed with the having control over taking someone's life. You know what I mean? All right, keep playing.
I mean, Bird. Y'all see what I'm saying? Society's standards is not enough. There's no conviction in that, no spiritual conviction in society's standards. Actually, we're now in the trend of breaking societal standards. So
True, that is very true.
where is that gonna lead us? We want to talk about how far evolution has brought us. It seems we've retrogressed back to the beginning. And I know some.
Right. All you ever hear is like society has, you know, gender is about societal structures and pressures and you know, the patriarchy and all of these things that we've actually evolved to become is now just, no, that's just society trying to put these pressures on you. So how you could push that as far as you want to push it. And we talk about that all the time. The bills they're passing in California with little kids, the stuff they're passing with these weird like sexual laws that they're pushing boundaries, you know? So once society becomes, it's just like the mask thing. Like, who would have thought 2 years ago that in this country we would have been okay with that? No one. Everyone would have been like, no, people would revolt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But all they need is the right opportunity to push something like that. So, and you look at a lot of the legislation.
Conflict.
Exactly. Order out of chaos, right? And so when you look at the legislation that they're pushing in California, a lot of these like the story hours, all this stuff in the schooling and the right circumstances,
you'll accept it.
People will accept it and not even realize
a pedophile is okay.
Yeah. Like you see them talking about how it's not okay to call them that anymore. Minor attractive person, and we need to consider them.
Blur the line.
Yeah.
But when you think, so like, what's going on? You got people who lack structure, right? And they're going out and they're trying to, well, that don't make no sense to me. So that needs to be broken down because they lack structure and they lack love. Like their hearts are crying out in a lot of ways because it doesn't make sense to them, right? And so where does it really fall? Because society without the intent of the understanding of why we do the things that we do really doesn't matter. It kind of falls apart. And that's what you're seeing happening because they're challenging something, right? But they're challenging it because they don't know. But we need to know. Like, why do we, if we just try to uphold something, then we just gonna go to war.
Right.
But you won't go, when you love somebody, when you truly love somebody, it's because you know that the thing that you're dealing with, you didn't know how to, the conflict that happens is you learning, oh, I need to learn more. What is the intent of this, right? And then when you carry that intent in your heart, now you can love somebody with that intent.
Yeah.
You know? But other than that, it's just you yelling at somebody else.
Right.
Right. But that conflict is a good thing. But it can be a bad thing, right? And just like the COVID, all these things that happen to people when you have these crises or these things happening, you just said it. It's to make order out of chaos. But it's not like, you know, people say, oh, that's a Luciferian thing, you know, or it's what's it called? Freemason thing. But no, it's a God thing.
Right.
It's just a twisted thing. Like, because God wants you to look at the chaos, the literally the beginning of the Bible.
Right.
The earth was without form or void. It was chaos. Right. And then he said, let there be light. Right. So the light has to come into our hearts. That's what he literally says. Jesus is the light. When we see him, he's revealed in our hearts.
And that brings
structure.
Right.
That brings order.
Right.
And we come into it little by little.
But what has happened is the enemy has hijacked that concept, and he knows that I can create the chaos to then push my order.
Right.
To you.
And then you'll
be
under
willing
my
to accept
order.
it because you just don't want to be in chaos anymore.
Right. Exactly.
You know? But you can only be in chaos if you submitted yourself to the systems that he's built up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's and it's funny because the other video that you want to get into is about Ruslan talking about should women submit to their husbands,
Right.
and that's another area where you
connected
see,
to it.
but you see this divide happening where it's like even that order, that structure of order, has become area of contention now.
Yeah.
Where it's like we don't understand what that means. Women don't even like the sound of hearing that. You know what I mean? And it's like men don't know how to lead properly to deserve that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll get into that in a little bit, but we'll finish this video up. It's only a couple minutes left.
Some people gonna be like, oh, look at China. She's scared about the possibility that she is just an accident caused by the universe itself, and she's not really worth anything, and nobody else is either, and there's no real purpose to this life. Oh, that possibility scares her, so she wants to feel like she's worth something, and so she's telling other people that they're worth something too. Listen, if you weren't worth anything and you were just a big accident, I would tell you that. And I would also act accordingly. I surely wouldn't be sitting down and taking the time to make these videos at the risk of a lot of different things in my life. It's dangerous nowadays talking this openly about God. Do I care?
Especially
No.
in her
industry. I
industry.
care more about what God has me doing because he cares about y'all. Whether you care about him or not. He's giving you the option through these videos. There's something bigger than this earth and what's happening down here. Moral laws are spiritual. It's not something that evolution caused. Because if we rewind and we did this all over again, we could very well evolve into a whole new set of morals and values. Killing your neighbor might be totally acceptable if we rewind humankind and just do this all over again. Moral laws are a reflection of God's character. I know y'all hear people say a lot, oh, God is good. I say it a lot. God is good. God is good. But it's really the other way around. Good is God. We wouldn't have good without God. And thank God we do have him. Thank God we have you, Lord. Okay. Well, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay.
I like that. Good is God.
Good is God.
And that's the structure that we're attempting to see.
Yeah.
You know, it's good, but you won't know it because you don't see it. So you're gonna call something else good.
Right.
You know, you call evil good,
Mm-hmm.
and good evil.
Or you say, how can God be good if there's children dying? You
Right.
know? If there's poverty, stuff like that, you know, because you don't understand the structure. You don't understand how
it's agreement.
Mm-hmm.
You've turned away.
It's marriage. You know, we accept things, and why do these things happen? Because we accept them.
Right.
We accept them because we don't know how to guard against them, right?
Yep.
Because we lack structure. And who's our structure? Jesus. So, but we can get into that because that kind of goes into the other part.
All right, so you want to play this Ruslan video?
Yeah.
How long is it?
I mean, we don't have to play the whole thing.
Okay. Where should I take it? Right from the top?
Yeah, right from the top.
Okay, so Ruslan is a Christian YouTuber. For those that don't know, he's been gaining steam. He's about to hit 100,000 subscribers. He's he used to be in the CHH community, Christian hip hop rapper, and then he became a YouTuber, and he kind of like does videos breaking down scripture, you know, having other people in the Christian YouTube community on, stuff like that.
You got comments, Mo?
Oh, is there any comments? Yeah, I haven't even checked. My bad, y'all. I'm slipping on the comments. Tia said, smart young lady with lots of truth behind her words. Stephanie said, I'm going to play the anybody's advocate right now, but I know our founding father stance. God was God, our God, but who's their God? I think she's talking about the fact that the founding fathers, like some of them were known occultists and, you know, and I was thinking about that when, what were we playing? And we were talking about the court. Oh, and she was talking about how like when people come in and they swear the oath in the name of God, but like learning more about the court system and like how that's all been set up, it is kind of different. It's weird, like, you know, there's a lot of word spell magic going on there that they've used, Even in the
it's
Constitution.
like lawyering.
Yeah, exactly. There's that lawyer magic.
language.
Tia said, narcissistic person is just like Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, like what is the point of? We talked about this before. Like, there's that whole community of people that, these Satan worshipers that really do. They find out that like they sacrifice children. They have these rituals, and people are like, well, how could you do that? How could you get to that point? But for someone who's led down a road of like narcissism, led down a road of like do whatever you want, eventually they're like, you have to keep up in that ante. Eventually, like, you get to the point where it's like, it's only about what I want to do. Nothing else matters. If you really truly believe that there's no God and there's nothing else after this, like, you view it just like, I think I was talking to James about this. It's just like someone who plays, John can appreciate this, someone who plays GTA, which is Grand Theft Auto, and all they do is go around causing havoc, terrorizing people, because there's really no point to the game. It's just like, you don't get anything if you play a good game and only care about missions, whatever. And you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can go around just torturing people and that's more fun. You know what I'm saying? So if you live this life that type of narcissistic way, eventually you could get to that point. You know? But anyway, so Ruslan did a video talking about, should women submit to men? And this has been a huge topic recently, just all throughout the manosphere of YouTube, and with the Kevin Samuels, the roommates, and all these things. So I haven't seen this, so I'm gonna react to this as well.
What's your opinion on the whole a wife should submit to the husband thing? I personally don't believe in it. I don't submit to any human to guide me when I know God will guide me. Kaya, I think with the Bible.
That is definitely a woman. That is definitely a woman.
Yep.
Who wrote that comment. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, women, even that sound of that, when you say like, yo, you should submit to your husband, like that that word submit, just like, I don't like the way that sounds.
But it also has to do with like, it's been used.
That's true.
And abused
That's
very
true.
badly.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So it doesn't come from nowhere. Right. But it was funny, like, her whole take of is like, I don't submit to any man, just God,
Right.
But you're talking about God, and the Bible that you're supposed to be reading tells you submit to your husband.
It does say it, didn't it?
Things. And if you look at that passage, the expectation of a man, like, I don't think I've ever used the word submit to my wife. I don't think I've ever said that word. Ever. So if you're talking to a man and they're telling you, woman, you need to submit, I mean, okay, now, if you look at that passage, right? Wives, submit to your husbands. Women get triggered by that passage. I understand. Patriarchy, all that stuff. What we ignore about that passage is it says, husbands, love your wives the way Christ loves the church and lays down his life for her. What's harder? Submitting or laying down your life for somebody? And by the way, I did this yesterday. That word life is psyche, will, presuppositions, right? All these different things. If someone is laying down their life for you, submitting should not be very difficult. If you are at a job and your employer, because this is just another parallel of submission, is generous and kind and always the first one to lead and always the first one to sacrifice and always the first one to give you quality feedback and give you direction and all these different things, and he's laying down his agenda and he's the sacrificing the most, because that's what servant leadership does. You shouldn't feel a way when he asks you to do something. That's what you signed up for. Some of the language used around Holy Spirit is in the same helper, like, I'm gonna send you that helper, and then the scriptures say helpmate. The wife is the helpmate. It's the same language. The Holy Spirit is the helper in the context of God the Father, the Son. In the same way, the wife is the helper to the husband. That's not a derogatory term. Y'all think of submission is like, woman, you better submit or I'm a... that's not that's not what that's saying. So my opinion, this is my opinion, and I might get in trouble for this. If a husband is leading his wife the way that Christ leads the church, if a husband is loving his wife the way Christ loved the church, if a husband is praying for his wife the way Christ prayed for the church, if a husband is sacrificing for his wife the way Christ sacrificed for the church, submission to that should be easy. This is not a conversation we have. This is not a conflict we have in our marriage. And again, I also don't walk around like women's.
That's kind of like where he brings it to. It's not that deep, but I kind of wanted to bring it a little further.
Okay.
Because like it is hard for people. They have even the word like submit. You know, submit is the same like being subject to, right? So in the Greek, it's kind of two words together. It's hypo, which has to do with being under or even under authority, right? And then it's tasso, which is in the hypotasso or hupotasso. And I'm probably saying this wrong because I don't know the Greek like that.
Speak Greek,
right? And that word means to arrange, to draw up in order, right? So it's really about coming under someone so you can be ordered. And really it's just about, because he says, what is he when Paul's talking about this, he says, wives, submit to your own husbands as the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, as the Christ is the head of the church. Right? But then he says, husbands, love your wives, right? As Christ loved the church. So that's key in it. It's not like we're just, you better submit to me.
Yeah.
It's more like, as even look at the church. Like, just look at the state of the church right now, right? The church is out of order. The church is really, really scared a lot of times. People love breaking everything down, criticizing everything, but where's the love? Right? And that's what we're lacking. That's why we got a lot of out of order stuff going on in society, because church didn't want to have nothing to do with it, but they want to point out every flaw.
Right.
So they take themselves out of culture, but the church is actually supposed to cultivate culture.
Right.
Right? So there's no order because you took yourself out of it.
So they isolated themselves in their own little bubble.
Right.
But
because of their own worry.
Right. Out of protection. Like, we're protecting ourselves from what the world is doing. But when you do that, the world just continues to expand and you continue to shrink.
Right. So
the Bible says, be not of this world.
The reason why it's saying for husbands to do this is because, like he says in here, it's a mystery.
Right.
Right. And it connects us to how we become one with God. And if our emotions are out of order, what are we going to do? We're going to worry about these things we were talking about earlier, the conflicts that come up, right?
Yeah.
We're going to worry about it, right? What does a woman do to a child when they're getting older and like they can't really keep them?
Right.
Be careful.
Right.
You know what I mean? I worry about you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So a woman is more worrisome, right? And just needs to be covered. The church is a woman, is the bride, right? To Jesus, right? So we come in and get comfort. We get ordered by him. Where we're worried and we're out of order emotionally, right? That means in our heart we're carrying something, right, that should not be.
Right.
He comes in and then we see what we couldn't see before, right? And as husbands, we lead our wives in that way. A leader leads in love. A leader doesn't lead in love by trying to love. A leader leads in love by seeking the one who can love you first.
Right.
And then you can love others.
Right.
You can't love because somebody tells you to love. A leader leads by laying down their life first, which is kind of what he was talking about You know what I mean? You got to lay down your life.
Yeah.
It's not life, Zoe life that Jesus gives you. It's life. It's my own way, my own agenda,
Right.
my own structure,
My selfishness, my own narcissism.
the way I think things should be.
Right.
Right. So then, but if I hold on to that and I'm dealing with conflict with my wife, then I'm gonna say, woman, you need to submit to me.
Right.
See, then it becomes perverted.
Right.
Right. But when I actually, and it's just with people, like even in churches, like, or just leading anything, it doesn't matter, whatever we're leading in, because whether it's in church or even in the world, if you don't lay down your life first, you're gonna start leading out of false pretenses or what you think things should be, right?
Yeah.
You better submit to me. I'm the head. I'm the boss,
Right.
I'm the manager, right? Because I have this authority because it says so. Because when they gave me this job, it says I'm the authority. So
Right.
now I can lead you in that way.
Right.
But that's not true leadership. And that's why, like, this isn't just something, just like you can do it in a marriage, you can do it in the world. You know what I mean? Church needs to stop being separate, but that's the problem. It's separate.
Yeah.
But when we realize that, no, it's just like anything else, it actually orders the world.
Right.
And then we can go in the world and we can do things in the right way.
That's part of the other problem with the idea of women that want to submit to a man, is that there's nothing about the way that we're raised up that cultivates that idea.
Right.
That cultivates a culture of that cultivates the semblance of an ordered marriage. Like this whole way we raise up kids and we raise up young boys and girls and in high school, the dynamic, and then dating, and like all of that stuff is the opposite. It teaches you to not do that. It teaches you
To not respect.
Yeah, it teaches you to protect yourself, fend for yourself, get yours. You know what I'm saying?
And disrespect others along
Right.
the way.
So there is no men that are willing to lay down their life for a woman. There's men looking at women like, what can I get from you? And there is no women they want to, like, they exist, but I'm saying for the most part, you know, it's a lot harder to go into a relationship and find someone that's just, you know, prepared properly for that role. You know what I mean? As a husband or wife.
Right.
It's hard to find that, you know.
And even if you have that at that age,
yeah,
you know, you're looked down as like, what a cornball.
Yeah, exactly.
You going to respect me?
Right. Right.
Thought you about to smack me.
Exactly.
A.E. James.
That's the thing. It's like, that's what I'm saying. So like if you try to be that man that you were raised to be, you know, there's going to be a lot of women that you come into contact with that don't understand what that is. And so they're going to either affect you or you're going to affect them or you're going to be by yourself, you know. So
It's pretty much what Jake said. Like, the church is supposed to, you know, cultivate the culture.
Right.
But it's the other way around.
Right. And it's been the opposite. It's like church has been this place where it's like you go out there and get all damaged and then come here and, you know, we'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
But look at what Simone just said. Like, the church is supposed to cultivate church culture, but it's been the other way around. So what is the church, a worrisome woman, trying to do? Like, what can we do to make it all right? You know, how can we get people in here?
Right.
What can we do to get people to come in here so that we don't got to go out there? What can we do to be more popular? What can we do
to reach the youth? Yeah.
Right. To what? And it becomes like, now you're worrying about things. Like, but you do it in an intellectual way, so it doesn't seem like it. But you are actually caring about the wrong things. You're actually being anxious about the wrong things. Right? Philippians 4, be anxious of nothing, but in all prayer, thanksgiving, giving thanksgiving to the Lord, make your requests be known, right? And then it says that the peace of God will come upon you and it'll guard your heart and your mind. So
that will be your wall.
It's literally a structure that you start to form around you, you know? So now you're not anxious anymore, right? And that's the key. That's what I think we're lacking in the church, and we're speaking about it. So let's speak it and press into it, because it's got to come back. But right now I see the church as like a worrisome woman, you know, and a worrisome woman just needs to be comforted.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really, or needs to be loved.
Right.
And that's the role of a husband.
So how do we do that?
How do we do that? We speak to people. You know, like that's one thing whenever like somebody's mad, dealing with people like, okay, why do you feel that way? Right? Because if you, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, if you will talk to somebody and not just
be pulled into that energy.
Right. Then you can get to the bottom, but not just look at the outward appearance of things that literally is said in the Bible. That's funny because that's Isaiah 11, right? It says that where it talks about what comes out of the root of Jesse, right? The branch, that branch is hidden, right? This branch that comes out, and he's gonna carry the 7 pillars or the 7 spirits of God: spirit of fear of the Lord, spirit of knowledge, right? All these wisdom, counsel, might, spirit of Yahweh. But then it says that he will not look at the appearance of things. Right? He won't go based off of the appearance of things and how they look and how they hear, how it sounds. I'm sorry. Right? See how it's like, it's a whole nother thing right there. And it really hit me. We talked about this at church because Mom brought it up. Shout out to her. Because religion, we were talking about, is structure, right? So pure religion and undefiled religion is to visit the orphans, the women who lack husbands, and
that's the widows.
The widows, yeah. And the children that lack fathers or parents, even. That's the orphans, right? So you're supposed to visit them. Why? Because they need love. But when you look at a child who's an orphan, a lot of times they're wild because they have no good upbringing, right? So a lot of times you just look at that and like, oh, they wild.
Yeah, you dismiss them.
But really, if you would interact with them, you can love them past that, and then you can start to get the root of things. And people, but you got to break through that barrier. That barrier at first is they've been through things because they had no covering. That's the key. Like, it says because of their distress, right, that you visit them. Because women that got no covering, kids that got no covering, got no structure around them, are going to let a lot of things in unknowingly, ignorantly, and they're going to deal with a lot that they really didn't have to deal with because they had nothing to keep them safe. That's why they're wearing it on their shoulders.
Yeah.
So they need love. They need structure. That's what real religion is. But how can you give it if you think you're good? Those who are forgiven much love much. So when I realize every day I'm lacking, right? Because I'm lacking because I don't know how to love this person, right? I need him. Now I can go further than I could before. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now I'm always real. That's what real religion is about. That's what real structure is about.
Father, show me.
Yeah.
This moment, because I don't know. How can I talk to this person?
Right. And we're always, that's our practice, right? That's what we do, always. So what we're learning and what we're practicing is faith, is going into trusting in God, going into his house, going into his structure. Then we start recognizing it more. But when we think we got it all figured out, we don't got to go in his structure. I know you already got, so why do I got to go and talk? You know what I mean? Like, you really don't go because you think you got it all figured out. Those who need forgiveness, right? They love much. But if you think you don't need forgiveness, then you don't love much. Because you're not you think, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Jesus spoke that to the Pharisee, when he was mad because the woman, the prostitute was coming in and crying at his feet, and he's like, get her away. But he's showing her, no, she's doing this for a reason. But he's in he doesn't realize how much he needs God, It's just crazy.
He thinks he's got it.
Real quick, Stephanie said, Christ is the head. The husband is to be the reflection of Christ. So husbands and wives should be in submission to Christ. But when husbands aren't reflecting Christ, women should not submit. Do not submit if it goes against the word. Yeah. Then she said, y'all, we talking about an absolutely perfect relationship where both are open to Jesus. Let's talk about relationship that only one is Christian.
I'm not talking about that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been through
Yeah.
relationship like that. So definitely not. No, I learned to love. Like that's the key thing. Every issue I have with my wife, where my wife thinks she's right and thinks that she knows something, I see God,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned how to love her past that, and that's what breaks it.
Right.
That's what breaks that yoke of bondage, you know. And we come into a closer because when she recognizes beyond everything, I love her. And that becomes clear to her, because the only reason why she got a wall up is because she don't really believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But when she recognizes that, bro, it breaks like that.
Right.
You know, and that's what we need in our lives too. Like, so it's really just about like whoever, if there's a weaker one, whether it's a man or a woman, if you'll lay down your life, you know, you can husband a man, in the spirit. Like you can husband a man.
Right.
It doesn't mean, I'm not saying that's not possible. So even what she's saying about
it's being in a position to lead. You know what I mean? When someone is
and you lead through love.
Right. So he's not talking about only a Christian relationship. I think she wasn't fully understanding that because she said, "Let's talk about it." No,
because we even said it. We're talking about even leading in like life situations, like where you're on your job or wherever, you
management,
know,
mentorship,
wherever. If you'll lay down your life, right? A lot of times those conflicts will be dealt with, but you got to be willing to face people and lay down your life, right? Like I'm pissed off, but you know what? I'm right.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm wrong. Like I'm wrong if I snap on somebody.
She's commenting on I think she wants to clarify between yoked and unyoked, that whole situation.
I mean, that's a whole other thing,
right?
You know,
I think a lot of people use it in that sense, you know.
Yeah, like it can be about marriage, but and of course, but the biggest thing, it's about us and God,
right?
You know, to be yoked with God. Like even if you look at the Hebrew, the ox is the aleph, you know, so the one is the aleph. You got one and one makes two.
Right.
That's two people walking together,
right.
You know. So God leads us by love, right? And then, but if you know anything about oxen, at first, when you put two ox together, they don't work together.
Right.
They got to learn how to work together. They got to learn how to plow together, how to walk together, right? So I think that's what it is like with us and with God. We learn how to walk with Him, right? And He leads us in that walk through love. And then we can do that for other people.
Right.
So that's really what it's about. Like,
and we can do that in a marriage even if the person isn't a Christian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. So that idea, because it's always like, well, if you marry someone who is not a Christian, you're unequally yoked. You know what I mean?
And I mean, yeah, because you're gonna have a lot of conflict.
Right.
It's gonna be hard
like
to walk
you said,
together.
Y'all gotta learn.
But love can break that.
Right.
Yeah, love can break that. It's not like if you'll take that burden on, then. But it's really not your burden. You know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is that if you love somebody, and God can work it out.
Yeah, she just asked that. But if someone is in a relationship with a Christian and married to a non-Christian,
is this a question you're asking from a life experience, something that you're going through?
And I think like even in terms of like people who, you know, non-Christian, Christian, if you keep loving them, they're gonna face things in their life that they don't want to face. Because that's what Jesus did. Jesus came into this world and made people face the things they didn't want to face, they didn't want to look at.
Right.
That's why they killed him. So we know this, right? We know this with dealing with the music, with dealing with people.
Right.
When we don't shy away and we love people, some people can't take it. Some people don't want to be around us,
Right.
because it's awkward, right? It almost offends them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with a marriage. So if they love you, they're gonna start. Well, why? You know what I mean? If they don't, well, you're gonna get a divorce, but they never loved you in the first place.
Right.
You know, so how important was that really?
But I think you do, like, if you go into it, like we're saying, just like in the China, what she was talking about, if you go and you marry someone who is an atheist or an agnostic or something like that, you have to be realistic with the fact that there's foundational things that are going to keep you in a certain moral space in your marriage that you can't expect of someone.
Right.
Or you have to, like, you can expect it, but you have to deal with the consequences that they don't hold those same standards that you do. So if you're willing to love them past that in order for God to work in that, you can do that. But for the most part, in a lot of those situations, that's where it goes wrong, is that you expect them to hold the same standard that you do, and when they fall short of that, it becomes a divorce because you go into it not being realistic about what you both. That's the
you carry false expectations.
So it's unequally, like, it's not an unequally yoked thing. It's a thing where you're expecting him to walk like you. You know what I'm saying? And y'all ain't walking the same.
Yeah, and it's really, that's like, and that's what I'm thinking about is somebody who's like, you get married and like they're atheist or they're not, you know, there's something else, and you get married or you're already in the marriage. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's what I mean. And then you find God, you know, you start seeking after Jesus. So then there's going to be conflict, but yeah, I don't know, like, if somebody's an atheist and then you already know that and you're really seeking after God, like, yeah, that don't make no sense.
Yeah, it's gonna be too much conflict.
Yeah, yeah.
And she said, obviously he didn't love me, so she said I almost died. So I guess that's what I'm saying is leave, don't stay just because.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, in a situation like that, like,
if they tell you who they are, believe them.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Or if it's
you don't love to the point of abuse.
Right.
Like, you know, that's not real love anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's when you learn, you know, from what was it? That's when you seek him, like, what was it that attracted me to that? What was it that allowed me to miss the signs that I missed? You know what I mean? And be honest with yourself about those things. Because I've been there when you don't realize it. I listened to my preacher at the time. Divorce was not an option, so I put myself and my kids at risk.
Yeah. See, that's where it's like, that's like the ideas or the standards people hold over you without the understanding. You know what I mean? Like, no, you can't do this. But it's like, instead of like leaders are like, well, let's pray for your marriage. Let's pray about these things. Let's seek God. Let's seek God together on these things. And I believe God speaks. So, but let's work in this together. You know, not just, I don't believe in divorce. Like, okay. Yeah, Jesus, there is something to uphold a marriage, but you can't, if somebody ain't agreeing with you, then it's not going to work.
Right.
You know, it's not going to work. So that, to me, that's like, there's a lot there, and God works that out. You know what I mean? He works it out and wants us to see clearly in it. You know, it's not just like, yeah, if you want to get a divorce, get a divorce. No, every situation is different. Like, every situation is nuanced. It's like the Sabbath. Like, they're coming at Jesus for a healing on the Sabbath, but yet they do circumcision on the Sabbath.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, every situation is nuanced, and it has to be dealt with in the intent it was meant to be dealt with, right? And that's where we seek God in, or else we're going to be making decisions because it sounds like you want to do the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how the enemy gets us, because we want to do the right thing.
Exactly.
And then we got leaders that are trying to make us do the right thing ignorantly,
right?
When we don't even know the right thing, because the right thing is really to seek him, and then he orders us. So I'm sorry that you went through that, Stephanie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that we touched on that enough and that made some sense. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. I think we covered everything we need to cover. Anybody else want to talk about anything else before we get out of here?
I just want to say that the bat that they said that the coronavirus came from turns out it nested like 600 miles away from the wet market.
For real?
Yeah.
What, did that just drop? Is that breaking news?
That's a new thing.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then they tried to.
It's funny how they got all this information about stuff. Like what?
The coronavirus came from a bat. They tried to reinfect bats with the coronavirus.
It wouldn't work. Couldn't catch. Yeah.
Couldn't do it. But it does affect human. Manipulate.
Yeah, exactly.
So just wanted to add that.
How many people, what about the whistleblower that was all over the news, all over all the YouTube channels? Valuetainment did an interview with her. Where is she at now? The other people in China that came out and that disappeared. You know what I'm saying? Like they took down all those interviews with her. It's crazy, man. Are we gonna do a quick Patreon thing after we wrap up here?
Yeah, we figure out what it's gonna be.
Yeah,
you got something?
Yeah, we can talk about something. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up, but just so you know, we're gonna be doing a quick segment on Patreon for all of our Patreon members, where we can talk a little more openly and freely without the censors, the censors of YouTube,
the overlords.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you're not subscribed over there, please go to the Patreon and go subscribe over there. You can see the link at the bottom. It's not a link, but you can see the Patreon at the bottom there. Patreon.com/youngliontv. Become a member.
I'm clicking it, but it's not.
He said it's a link. But become a member over there, and we're going to be having a bunch of more exclusive content. We're working on a lot of things. Shout out to everybody who's joined up. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you everybody here for being here once again. We appreciate every single one of you. Also, don't forget Jatan.com for merch. If you want to get some merch, if you want to get some music, and YouTube. Subscribe over at the YouTube. We really need to get our YouTube subscriptions up. So please go over to the YouTube and subscribe. Just type in Young Lion TV. And we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Young lion go live, yeah. Young lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room.